A new WRAL weather alert day. I'm timing out steady rain, storms, and a risk for flooding hour by hour.
A dog is dead after being left in a hot car. The charges the owner's facing.
Big food targeting. Doctors say they're fueling America's health crisis. Now, 11 big food companies are being taken to court. We break down what's in ultra-processed foods and how to spot them. All right, we got a soaking rain on the way. Tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day, but we thank you for being with us here tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. Meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center timing things out for us tomorrow.
Well, you've got a chance for rain all day long. It's one of those days, and that's one of the reasons why we issued a WRAL weather alert day. Typically, as we get into the summer months like this, it's more of those scattered afternoon storms. That's not going to be the case tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll have the chance for rain on and off all day, and both of the commutes could see impacts. We'll have a chance for rain for the morning and evening commutes. This is a good amount of rain, half an inch to up to an inch and a half, and that would mainly be east of I-95. Some good news, this will not be a tropical system. The National Hurricane Center lowered the chance of developing from 10% down to 0%. That's what we like to see. So here comes the rain. It's already moving through South Carolina. It will lift from south to north throughout our viewing area tomorrow morning. And by 8 a.m., the Sandhills are very likely to see rain. It could be as far north as the Triangle, but it may not move in until a little bit later for the Triangle. Lunchtime, good coverage of rain still expected in our area. And then after lunchtime, we're probably going to start to see more oranges and red on the radar. We could see some thunderstorms, some heavier rain for the evening commute. This will all settle down after that, but not for long. I'm tracking the cold front that will follow coming up.
All right, talk to you soon, Kat. Meantime, turn on WRL's morning news for the most updated forecast, traffic updates, and a live look at the road conditions from the WRL Storm Tracker. We have team coverage starting for you at 4:30 tomorrow morning. And make sure you have the WRL weather app ahead of tomorrow's weather alert day. You can check the radar in real time to see when storms are in your area. Turn those alerts on too so you can get notified about severe weather where you are. It is free to download.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and breaking news this evening. Within the past hour, we've learned of another financial challenge for embattled St. Augustine's University. A Wake County judge says that it owes the company millions of dollars. SBA Connect sued the school just a couple of months ago, back in April, saying that it defaulted on its agreement back in September of 2024. A Wake County judge has ordered St. Augustine's to pay more than $20 million in damages to that company. We've been reporting extensively about the financial problems at the university, as well as a number of lawsuits that it's facing. And, of course, it lost its accreditation last year. WRL's Aaron Thomas is on this story tonight. Look for his reporting on our news at 10 and 11.
Yeah, that is a tough blow there. Thank you, Brian. Temperatures hit the mid-80s today across the Triangle. You know, even when it is not technically hot outside, 80s hot, maybe not for us, but we know that cars can still get dangerously or even deadly hot inside. In Wake County this week, a dog died after being trapped in a car for 8 hours. WRL's Sean Gallagher has the details of this tragic incident.
It's easy for dogs to overheat this time of year.
Just try to be mindful of the hotter summer days.
Jordan Houselodden keeps a close eye on her 4-year-old dog with weather heating up, frequent water breaks, and knowing when to call it quits. But there's one thing she'd never do.
But yeah, I don't otherwise do errands like even to stop and get something. It'll cross my mind, but then I'll be like, I can't. I have my dog with me. She could overheat in the car.
That could raise it to the level of animal cruelty, something Cary police say happened in this parking lot on Monday when they say 46-year-old Brent Brown locked his 18-month-old puppy in his car and went to work, not returning for 8 hours.
Baby. Hello?
Brown's coworker checked on his dog around 4 p.m. and called 911, but it was too late.
911, what's the address for the emergency? There's a dead dog in the vehicle.
Cary police say Brown left his 15-month-old pit bull in the car during the heat of the day after he was told he couldn't bring the dog inside his job at the Millennium Print Group in Morrisville. The American Veterinary Medical Association says on a 70-degree day, the temperature can jump 43 degrees inside a car after an hour. It was nearly 80 degrees outside when the dog was found Monday after sitting there for 8 hours. Court documents calling it extreme heat. I went to Brown's home to ask him about his dog, but no one answered. This is the fourth animal cruelty arrest made by Cary PD this year, after only 6 all of last year. Brown posted a $3,000 bond and is due back in court later this month. If found guilty for this one charge, he faces up to 39 months in prison. In Morrisville, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Thank you to Sean. We should say 14 states do have laws allowing any person to rescue a distressed animal that they notice to be locked in a car. That includes breaking the window if you have to get in. However, North Carolina is not one of those states. Only law enforcement, firefighters, or a rescue squad worker are allowed to do so. Hey, let's get you caught up now on the 5 things you should know here tonight. Authorities announced they are searching for a second suspect in connection to the mass shooting in Catawba County. Toland Huff Jr. is now wanted for attempted murder. The other suspect, Garen Killian, made his first appearance in court today. He is also charged with attempted murder. Killian was granted a $200,000 bond and is now actually out of jail with an electronic monitor. The judge also issued a curfew for him. There's still a $15,000 reward from the FBI for information leading to another arrest in this case. 2 people were killed when a small plane crashed near the Triad. It happened at Sugar Valley Airport in Davie County yesterday, shortly before noon. The Federal Aviation Administration says the plane crashed while doing a go-round. The pilot and a child were killed in this crash. A third passenger has minor injuries. The National Transportation Safety Board is currently investigating. A man who pleaded guilty in the death of a 6-year-old Cary girl was sentenced to a maximum of 32 months probation. Andrew Everett pleaded guilty to the 2 most serious charges, involuntary manslaughter and misdemeanor death by motor vehicle. Everett hit and killed Jocelyn Hernandez in December of 2023 on Walnut Street near Durham Park. According to court documents, he had a lack of remorse at the scene and used derogatory language toward the little girl. Global tech giant Amazon plans to invest $10 billion in a North Carolina campus. Amazon Web Services, a unit of the company, plans to build a cloud computing and artificial intelligence innovation campus in Richmond County. The project is expected to bring about 500 jobs to the area. The company said it would be a hub for cutting-edge technology and drive economic growth in the county. Officials say it's one of the biggest economic events in state history. President Donald Trump is coming to North Carolina next week. He will make a stop at Fort Bragg next Tuesday. This will be Trump's second trip to our state this year. He visited Western North Carolina days after his inauguration in January to talk about Helene relief. WRAL, of course, will be there and bring you full coverage of his visit. So what's next for the Crown Event Center? We'll take a look at the site of the future venue in Fayetteville. The project was paused, but last night, Cumberland County commissioners announced work will resume. Commissioners scheduled a special meeting to talk about what is next. You got WRL's Eric Miller behind me. He's been sitting in the meeting this afternoon. Eric, there are some concerned residents here.
Well, Dan, there absolutely are. And of course, the questions are coming not just from residents, but from county commissioners as well, in a meeting that is still ongoing right here in this room behind me. Now, the Crown Event Center project has been under a lot of scrutiny ever since ground was broken all the way back in October. But this year especially, it's taken a different tone. Now, progress was paused back in March. It was paused in March with the idea that we're going to take a closer look at this, see what exactly is going on here, whether the project is on track, on schedule. It has since been unpaused, but that scrutiny has continued, including with this special called meeting here tonight. Commissioners inside have raised concerns, including whether or not the new Crown Event Center will be ADA compliant, whether or not there's enough parking in downtown where this facility is going to be located, and whether it would just be cheaper to go back and renovate the existing Crown Theater and Crown Arena complex. Now, all of the scrutiny, all of the delays that have come with it have led to some cost increases and a pushback of that completion date. Here's the explanation that Cumberland County's manager gave for that.
That change resulted in the results of tariffs, pause, inflation.
The pause, the tariffs, the inflation, now leading to a total cost on the new Crown Event Center of an estimated $153 million. That's up from $145 million at the start of this year. And an estimated completion date now pushed back into 2028, a 10-month delay from where it was before. And of course, all that is dependent on whether or not Cumberland County commissioners decide to lock this thing in, continue moving forward with that new Crown Event Center. We'll be watching very closely to see if they make a decision on that tonight, whether to move forward, whether not, whether they land somewhere in between. We'll let you know where they land tonight. In Cumberland County, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
All right, Eric, thank you. New documents show the price of Wake County's new fire trucks is skyrocketing. Records obtained by WRAL show more than 60% jump in fire engine costs over 5 years. They also show years-long wait times in getting new equipment delivered. Wake County's Fire Services Director says older trucks are staying on as backups for longer now.
But over the last couple of years, we've had to keep many reserves because it's taking longer to get these trucks. It's taking longer to get the parts. So therefore, we keep many reserves around the county to have to fill in stopgap.
The director notes departments nationwide are also seeing the cost hikes. Last month, a national firefighter union urged the Justice Department to investigate 3 fire engine manufacturers for possible antitrust practices. WRAL Investigates takes a closer look at what this means for first responders. Coming up on WRAL News at 6 o'clock. What are you eating? Ultra-processed foods can be delicious, but study after study shows they may also be killing us. Coming up at the top of the hour, we dive into what a new lawsuit claims and what you need to be aware of when picking out your next snack. Plus, business for sale. Topgolf's location in Durham is looking for a new owner. How much they're hoping to sell it for. All right, welcome back. Let's start with a question. What is a Cheeto? You know, like what's in it? If I wanted to make one at home, where would I start? What is the base ingredient? You have no idea. Neither do I. Cheetos are what they call an ultra-processed food. And Americans eat these types of foods all of the time. Bread, frozen waffles, Coke and Pepsi, Cheez-Its, protein bars, ketchup, frozen pizzas, instant ramen, a scoop of cookies and cream ice cream, or just a turkey sandwich from the deli counter. They're all delicious. But study after study is saying that they may also be killing us. Now a lawsuit says the companies making these foods know that. And it claims that some of the biggest names in the snack section are even using the same master playbook as Big Tobacco to get you hooked and to advertise to your kids. So what should you really know about all of this? And how dangerous are these foods? WRAL health reporter Grace Haba breaks it down.
They're found on store shelves everywhere.
For a majority of Americans now, ultra-processed foods are the majority of the calories that they take in.
And doctors are urging us to be aware of how often ultra-processed foods end up in our carts.
It greatly increases the risk of obesity, and with that, the risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, and other heart risk factors.
Dr. Christopher Kelly, a cardiologist with UNC Rex, defines ultra-processed foods as products with a long shelf life, 5 or more ingredients, and those that usually contain a lot of sugar. The ingredients make the foods more addicting, and Kelly says they can increase your risk of heart disease if you eat them often.
When people eat ultra-processed foods, they usually consume 20 or 30% more calories than they would if they were eating ordinary food that they cooked themselves.
A federal lawsuit claims that's no coincidence. The suit accuses 11 major food companies of marketing unhealthy and addictive foods to Americans, including spending $2 billion a year on marketing aimed at children.
Never go by what's on the front of the package.
Registered dietitian Shelley Wegman says you can reduce the amount of ultra-processed food your family eats by sticking to the perimeter of the grocery store. Those are areas where you typically find fresh produce and dairy. She also says it's important to pay close attention to labels.
What some manufacturers do is they will use multiple versions of sugar, so it's not the first ingredient. If you start seeing things that you don't recognize, it might be an emulsifying agent or a flavoring agent.
So often when we read the sides of those labels, we're seeing words that we can't even pronounce, yet alone recognize. So we got Grace Haber here right now to talk about this a little bit. Let's mention that lawsuit again that we were discussing off the top, alleging that companies are using the same playbook as Big Tobacco. Can you give us an idea of what they mean by that?
Yeah, so the lawsuit is essentially claiming that these companies are using the same marketing tactics that Big Tobacco used when selling cigarettes. So take the company Philip Morris, for example. They're actually a company behind Marlboro. Well, they actually went on to then buy Kraft in the late 1980s. You kind of see the connection here. So the lawsuit claims that these kinds of companies found this playbook and continued to follow it, creating these foods that speak to the same addictive parts of our brain, just like tobacco and cigarettes, that keep us coming back for more. So the suit claims that the companies know this and are continuing to use this model, knowing that what they're selling us, Dan, offers a whole lot of calories with little to no, in some cases, nutritional value.
Okay, I mean, this is a topic that's so important to people right now. It deals with our food and our families and our health and everything, and I know you'll stay on top of it. So thank you for the reporting tonight. And any of you at home, again, this is a huge topic in the health world and in all of our lives and world. If you have some questions, please let me know. I know I honestly don't know a person who doesn't have those foods in their homes. So, I know you have questions about this, so let me know. Dan@WRAL.com. This is a perfect topic to go in depth. Also, our team here at WRAL is paying close attention to it because right now our doc team is working on a documentary about cancer getting younger. And they have talked to researchers and doctors in North Carolina who believe that these ultra-processed foods could be to blame. It's called Diagnosis Young, the new face of cancer in North Carolina. It is set to air a little later this month on June 26th. All right, so let's pivot now, send things over to meteorologist Kat Campbell because we have a whole lot of rain in the forecast, Kat.
We do. Tomorrow is going to be awfully wet outside, so make sure that you have an indoor backup plan and rain gear, especially if you are headed out to the soccer tournament tomorrow. Tonight for opening night, the game weather looks fantastic. Upper 70s to lower 80s. Even by 11 o'clock, we're still in the low 70s. Tomorrow, not the same. We have a 100% chance for rain. One thing about tomorrow, I actually don't think it's going to be a washout day, but I think it's likely everybody sees rain. Everybody's going to see rain at some point tomorrow, but there will be a couple of breaks in the rain. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a good day to have the WRAL weather app on hand Friday and Saturday, as the storms won't be quite as widespread, especially Friday. Saturday, a pretty good chance as we get into the evening hours. And then Sunday, there are some signs pointing to a front hanging out nearby a bit longer. Let's start with tomorrow's system. This is a coastal low. It's not going to become tropical, but it will bring widespread rain both here and at the coast. The flooding threat low locally, a little bit higher toward the coast, and the rain could be heavy at times, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of rain. Rain will move in from south to north throughout the morning hours. It's with us midday and then scattered with some thunderstorms perhaps mixed in by the afternoon. This is system number 1, the coastal low. System number 2 is this front that's going to move in over the weekend. And with the front moving in, a lot of hot, humid air out ahead of it. We've got energy in place and we've got something to trigger storms. When you've got a setup like this, we're going to have to watch for some severe storms perhaps by late Saturday. Sunday, we did have to bump up rain chances. That's because the front may be hanging out nearby a bit longer. But check out the weekend. It looks like June, hot and more humid. Highs will be in the upper 80s to lower 90s. A live look at Fenton and Cary, a nice night, but definitely cloudy out there. It's still 80 degrees in Cary, Apex, Fuquay Varina, and Clayton. 81 in Morrisville. At the airport right now in Raleigh, 79 in Garner and Zebulon. If you're headed out to dinner tonight, temperatures are comfortable. We do see temperatures dip down into the mid to upper 60s for our lows, so it is going to be a bit warmer tonight. After that, high temperatures are in the upper 80s to lower 90s every day. Lows are in the upper 60s every night. It is definitely looking like summer. Once we get past tomorrow's 100% chance for rain, keep in mind the bulk of these storm chances will be more scattered during the afternoon hours.
All right. Thank you, Kat. Still ahead, praying for a miracle.
This is our next big hurdle in life.
An 11-year-old boy from North Carolina is battling a rare genetic disease. Up next, how you can help their son be a little boy again. An 11-year-old boy from right here in North Carolina is looking for a life-saving gift. This is Blake Shore. He's from Thomasville, was born with a rare genetic disease. He also has polycystic kidney disease. He now needs a new kidney, and Blake needs an adult kidney from a person with type O blood, either positive or negative.
Our hopes is that Blake can feel better. His current kidneys, the size that they are, is causing him a lot of pain and discomfort.
So Blake's family says they are looking to get a kidney from a living donor. They say living donors, and their kidneys have a tendency to last 15 to 20 years on average, whereas it's 10 to 15 years for donors who have passed. And now his family says that they are holding on to some hope.
We don't take it for granted. We appreciate every individual that is willing to fill out the questionnaire and submit it to see if they're a match.
The procedure will be at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Hospital. Everything will be covered for the person who matches Blake and is willing to make this selfless donation. You can find more information by going to the Prayer for Blake Facebook page if you or someone else thinks that they might be able to help. So we have a lot of rain in the forecast tomorrow, and Topgolf is a good place to get outside and still have some cover over your head. Durham's Topgolf location is looking for a new owner. The business was listed by Atlantic Capital Partners for more than $38 million. Maybe I'll pick it up. Yeah. The location opened in April of 2024. Greenville, South Carolina-based company Realty Link currently owns Topgolf. Great to have you with us here at 7 o'clock. See you back here later tonight. Have a good one.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.